Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Wednesday live. Today we are in the Into the Wilderness of the Authentic Path broadcast series with Karine. Hi, Karine again.
Hi. How are you?
Flowing. Let's put it like this.
Yeah.
Energies are strong and a lot of clearing, a lot of alignment happening, and it's beautiful and challenging at the same time.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you were saying the title Wilderness, it really struck me that, we've been doing this series for a couple of weeks, well, a couple of months now, and you just said it again, and it really caught my attention and got me thinking that for me, this time is very wild, kind of raw. I don't know if you have that same feeling about the wilderness and rawness of this moment that we're in.
Yes. I mean, if I remember well, when we chose this title, when this title came, it was because we were contemplating the path, and it is wild. It's very wild. It's very raw. It takes us in those spirals and in this vortex, visiting old things that sometimes we think that we have transcended, but actually we're just peeling off one extra layer. And we can categorize this as, the healing process and visiting trauma and old memories or emotions that had been repressed in the past. And we get a new opportunity to release that energy out of the body and to free ourselves. That's why we are choosing this path. Ultimately, we said it already, it's because we're seeking more freedom and more spaciousness in our lives. And this requires us to revisit things. And then it starts manifesting more in our life like this. But the clearing process is, it's not comfortable most of the time, because there's a let go and we hook on stuff and our ego gets very affected. Our ego, meaning our personalities and identities, get very affected. And we hook until it hurts so much that we're like, okay, I surrender, and then I let go. But that phase is, we're in it now. It's another phase, but it's kind of this constant movement, right? And it's we have to enjoy it. We have to enjoy it, even if sometimes we need a lot of Epsom salt baths to clear.
Yeah,
we were the forest. And the embodiment practice, of course.
Yeah, for sure. We were talking, sharing our tricks of feeling better when we're in those cleanup phases and stuff like that. And yeah, going back to embodiment, how it manifests from time to time in the body. And it's interesting also to witness that, because we've been in this path for a while now, and we've had some cleaning phases. Can you talk a bit about that? Like, how does it feel for you in your body when you're kind of in that spiral and visiting old stuff, like?
Well, sometimes it's chaotic and I lose myself. Sometimes I'm very centered. Most of the time I find a ground. The honest truth, the practice helps a lot to find roots on Mother Earth and to find safety. And that's why we practice. We find this inner safety, this inner grounding that makes us go through those moments of detox in a much smoother way, with a lot more grace to it, right? But sometimes it's chaotic. Sometimes, because we're all humans and we have our day-to-days, we are moms, we have businesses, we manage teams, we have our past, we have relationships, we're human. And when we enter big transformation phases and we're aligning with higher frequency and a deeper intention that's carrying our body, it's like the veils get lifted off. As the veils get lifted off, it's actually a layer of crust that takes that. That's why we call it detox. It's literally removing a layer of filthiness that was in the body. And it sounds a bit disgusting the way that I'm sharing it, but it's literally like this. And it is toxins, but those toxins were very useful and very intelligent in our body for a long time. So a lot of compassion and love for the toxins, we need them. But when we connect to a higher vision and a highest calling, and we start honoring the deep desires, it's a different quality of energy that will not accept the toxins. It will actually clear the toxins that cannot exist anymore for the next layer of authenticity to be manifested in our lives. I'm going to make a parallel here with pregnancy, because pregnancy is exactly the same. We welcome an essence, a potential in our wombs. The potential is growing and growing in our bodies, and everything that it asks for is space. It wants space for it to grow organically and grow in its essence, develop organically, develop in its most aligned form. And this is why in pregnancy we go through such a chaos sometimes. Also, it's the same process. So it's the best parallel, best equivalent that I can give as an example for the women who have been pregnant or who have carried a project in their wombs. This is the process that happens. It's detox in order to welcome the more potential. That's what happens. Maybe I diverged a little bit from the original question, but it's the detox is part of the process. And the more we ground and we practice and we bring this self-awareness and presence in the body, the smoother this goes. And sometimes we can accept that, yes, it's chaotic, because there's really a leap. Sometimes we receive quantum leap energies, and it's a lot at the same time. And yes, we get the opportunity to clear, and we can dose. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I see it, but I'm gonna take that dose, right?
Yeah.
We can do that. We can play with that. But it's yes, the practice helps me a lot. Without it, I would honestly, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I would not be able to follow through.
No, for sure. And I think also that it's a kind of it's a dancing process to be able to say, okay, I am able to let go of that bit for now. I know down the road I'll have to let go of another part of the detox, but now I'm not ready. So it's like, for me, I also feel it like that. You can't detox at the same time. So it's gonna be a bit painful.
Yes.
Or
It's a big topic, detox. I mean, I remember when I started detoxing, I had so much tension in my body when I started this practice 12 years ago, or 12 years ago, that honestly, my detox was, I was vomiting all the time. It was so intense. My liver was so congested and so intoxicated in a certain way with different emotions, and because of different lifestyles that I had before, it was very strong. My main symptom was vomiting, but it was also as intense as the tensions as I had in my body, right? So it's like this. Sometimes the detox is intense at the beginning because we're really clearing out shit,
Yeah, but it's really interesting. We could talk about that for for a while, for sure, because when we were more advanced into the path, we kind of also know the pattern of detox, and sometimes also get stuck on it. I know we've talked about that a bit, but sometimes you just don't want to do the extra step, so you stay in that kind of shitty zone. I don't know how to
Yes,
say it.
you're right, and this is it's a big topic, but it can become an identity. It can become an escape zone of, I'm detoxing, or I'm too tired, or I'm this, and it can become a symptom of not wanting to move forward, because detox can also happen fast. We don't need to stay in bed for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but sometimes it's required. Sometimes it's really, really a detox. But when the mind hooks on the detox, because actually the next step on the path is to, let's say, be more visible, or write or share a live video, or whatever it is, or write a book, right? Whatever it is, sometimes it can become a comfort zone to stay in there. And then usually what happens is that we start seeing the pattern of procrastination. in our lives. And we're like,
Yeah.
so it's really self-awareness is the key. And that's why really having a discipline and practicing the embodiment practice, practicing the meditation that comes with this, feeling the body will always tell you, you know, where you're lying to yourself, because it's going to start being painful, and you're going to start feeling your life force energy just dropping when your mind is going to start choosing instead of really the actual reality of the body. You pay the price
Yeah, for
with your
sure.
energy. Yeah.
And like how do you know? Like I'm sure people are thinking, well,
Yeah.
but how do you know like when it's over, or when what's
It's a very good question. I would say it's a practice, you know, this tool.
mm,
You know, it's not from one day to the other that I knew, right? And sometimes I still get confused when the energies are big, but then I have the center to go to get back to. That is the jewel. That is the gift of this practice, that we know that if we get confused at one point in our day, we're like, okay, something's happening. Let me go and check.
mm,
We know that, okay, I'm confused. My emotions are not grounded right now, or I feel distracted, I feel scattered. Well, all those are symptoms. At one point we get to place all of this in symptomatics, and we're like, I'm not going to make a decision now, you know. And I'm talking to myself like this, like, honey, don't make a decision right now, you know, like you're just not grounded. Everything
yeah.
that's going to come out of your voice right now, or guidance is not, it's not aligned with Mother Earth. It's not aligned with my womb. So I
Mm,
use my womb as a radar. Is my heart relaxed? Also, I'm asking myself this. All of those are body signs that I'm actually okay. That's the next step. And the next step doesn't need to be violent, you know? It's like I'm taking the next step. It's the next appropriate step in alignment with the highest vision.
mm,
And also, this is a big topic because sometimes when we receive big visions, we want to go super, super fast. And we shared about this in the last, in one of the conversations. I can't remember which one, but it's one step at a time,
yeah.
because the body is one step at a time. Even if we receive quantum leap energy and we receive super, super big visions, we have to realize that the big vision is broken into smaller steps.
Mm,
And taking one step is going to unleash the energy and the clarity for the step after, and the same for the step after. So we don't need to know the whole path between A to Z. We need to take A and tune into the potential of Z.
mm,
The potential of Z is what we tune into. It actualizes our body in the now. It shifts our energy field in the now. Then things around us start revolving, being in alignment with the energy of the potential. And then we're like, okay, that's the step. We're taking that step.
mm.
Making decisions, even in our thoughts. It starts with thoughts. It starts with what am I feeding in terms of attention and energy?
Yeah.
Again, yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because we've talked about this topic in the past few weeks also, you know, coming back to reality and being really honest. And it's really interesting what you were saying between, you know, having the vision but also keep the ground to make sure that the reality, that, you know, the next step is in reality. It's not like, wow, I'm flying up to the sky, but you know, the first step is taken here. And but we also have that connection with something higher. So it's interesting for me that this would manifest in the body but also in the way that you take the steps. Or am I clear in what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes, it's we shared about this, that the body will actually, we will feel it. A way to feel this is that when we're actually thinking about where we are going, we're not in the right step.
Mm,
Okay, so for example, okay, let's say I want to buy a house in Costa Rica. Okay, and the potential of it is, it's a dream, right? Okay, if I was always thinking about it, I would not be in the present. My presence, my attention would be in a hypothetical future, but in my body, literally, I would feel my diaphragm choking my chest. My lungs would be a bit chunked in order for my attention to stay just in the vision. And then I would feed it like this, but I would not be grounded. So what would happen in my life, my day-to-day life, and this happens sometimes, I would see my house, starting to be a mess. My dishes would accumulate. It would, like, my son would become like more chaotic. Like people would speak louder in the house because it's not grounded on Mother Earth. But if I take the vision, I let it go. I'm like, okay, I'm going there. And then I look at my reality and I start by cleaning the house, having conscious communication with my family, with people, with my teammates, and all of this. Then I would see that my body would calm down, and then the path opens, and then it gets clear. I need to make that phone call.
Yeah.
Okay. It's as simple as that. And we will notice also that sometimes when our attention is hooked on higher visions, our bodies will get there will be a lot of friction. We shared this also. It will not operate functionally. It will start stopping. Like it will actually not move, because there are some things to address inside.
I lost my light.
You lost your light. Because things need to be addressed first. That's the detox. So we have to accept that the detox needs to clear the body, then the body will be able to be more operational. This was happening this week inside of me. I was like, well, I'm actually going towards this vision, but my body's not moving.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I not seeing? And I asked genuinely the question to my body, and I realized that there were some unprocessed emotions from recent events that I hadn't processed. I chose to kind of put blindfolds and say, it's okay. Then I entered reaction mechanisms, personalities that kicked in that were protective. At the end of the day, what happened in the body, in my physical body, is that knots starting to be created. And those knots, what do? They take energy and they take life. So I started feeling like my body's not operating as usual. It's not moving fast. It's something's happening. I sat down and I realized that I had tears that wanted to come down. I realized that I left a part of myself in a certain situation that keeps coming and taking energy out of my attention. So I'm sharing a personal example, not in detail, but just to give an example that it happens all the time. And what this practice does is that by creating this space inside the body, it's going to hit those spots where the knots are, and it's going to start unleashing the energy that's clogged, and it's going to make us realize, hey, you know what? It's I need to go and revisit the situation.
Yeah.
I
relate to that so much. I've been having the same kind of experience of just feeling that a lot of things were unresolved, and now I'm in pain, but I know that if I just connect to it, it's gonna resolve itself. But I have to address the reality of what's going on. It's sometimes painful, but I think necessary also to take the next step. So
yes, you said it well. We have to address reality. We have to address reality. We cannot bypass reality. And when difficult events happen in our life, it's important to address it really, really as it's happening. It's important to clear everything as it's happening, to have the proper communication, to not leave any parts behind, because it doesn't just go.
No,
it doesn't just go. It's our attention will stay hooked on it unless we have clearing tools, and we clear, right? But most of the time what happens is it creates some traumas in the body, and those traumas need to be really welcomed with a lot of self-love and a lot of self-care, and acknowledging that the body has been through something that's painful, and only presence and love can heal that. The presence, right? It's yes, or else our machinery is going to start slowing down, and this is what develops in diseases later on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Presence and love.
Presence and love. Yeah.
We can
Presence.
finish on that. It's such a good conclusion. How, like, what more can we say? Presence and love.
Yeah. So if you inspiration for presence and love, if you feel that your body is slow lately, a lot of acknowledgement for it, a lot of presence and love. Take good care of yourselves. The energies are strong. We are really in a big period of shift. Trust that if you're sincere in your heart, again, your calling is taking you, and bring back your attention into the reality of the now, and ask yourself the questions. What's happening now inside of me? Is there a story pulling me in the past? How can I bring love and presence in that story? How can I let go of even the addiction to the story and the movie that keeps repeating itself inside the mind, the psyche, the body, and give space to it.
Yeah.
It's gonna help. It's gonna help.
Wow.
All right.
Thank you again. Such a good conversation as usual. We went into the wilderness of the path.
The wilderness of the path. All right, everybody. Hope this supported and it gave you some nuggets to help you move forward inside your lives and to bring more presence and love to your bodies. And don't hesitate, if you have questions, right underneath the video, we'll read that. Post comments also. It's always super nice to read your comments. And we'll keep on moving forward and sharing our process and sharing also the wilderness of this authentic path that we love so much, actually.
Yeah.
So much love to all of you, and we'll see you later. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.